Hello everyone. Welcome back to Reddit Night, your favorite Reddit reading channel. Today's question is: what's something inherently toxic that is perceived as normal? Asking a prospective employee to create a full-on project or develop content specific to the position applied for. You might not get the job, but the company has your intellectual property. And plenty are not above using it as their own. Going to work/school even if you're super sick or in pain, not having days off, being expected to have perfect attendance in school or at work, etc., etc. I'm surprised nobody else has said sleep deprivation yet. Sleep deprivation literally causes brain damage to the part of the brain responsible for happiness and memory. There is a reason military regulation requires soldiers be provided 8 hours of sleep. Because sleep deprivation is a form of torture. Not saying what you mean. The amount of sugar in everything. In my industry, manufacturing, mandatory overtime. Pre-COVID, it was totally normal for people to have to work 50+ hours a week, sometimes 7 days a week for months at a time. The whole point of time and a half was to discourage companies from making people work more than 40 hours regularly. And yet, for most of 2018 and 2019, people like my father-in-law had to use PTO to be off on a Saturday or Sunday. Making fun of or denigrating one's spouse in social situations. It's a shitty thing to do. I feel like a lot of never turn your back on family rhetoric is used by abusive people that think they shouldn't face consequences for their bullshit. Blind loyalty. Loyalty is seen as such a positive trait, and people who are not loyal are seen as snakes, rats, etc. While I understand the importance of loyalty to an extent, e.g., we shouldn't be cheating on our partners or breaking promises, I don't understand why people are applauded for being blindly loyal to people who have done something wrong or go against your values, etc. If I'm blindly loyal to my workplace, and find out they're engaging in shady practices, I'm applauded for keeping my mouth shut. If I'm blindly loyal to my family, and find out they're a bunch of abusers, I'm a monster and ingrate for leaving them behind. If I'm blindly loyal to a politician, and then find out they have some dark side I don't agree with, I'm expected to back them up and justify it. If I'm blindly loyal to a friend and find out they raped someone, I'm still expected to stand by them because they're my friend. If I'm blindly loyal to an idea, not even another human, but some value or belief, and then that idea is challenged, I should be able to learn from that and grow, rather than stick to something that could be incorrect or problematic. I don't understand why blind loyalty is so applauded. We should be open to learning and changing, and we should be encouraged to understand consequences and think about our actions, rather than believing that we should be backed up, and should back up our team no matter what. I see this a lot in Suits. Everyone is so loyal to each other even when they fuck up big time, and then if someone does objectively the right thing, but it hurts one of the others, they're shunned. I don't know about other places, but in the US, internships that delegate actual business responsibilities to interns but don't pay them. If your intern calling in sick would disrupt your workflow, they're not an intern, they're an employee and they deserve a wage. Toxic hustle culture, the idea that every moment you're awake, you need to be constantly achieving your goals and getting further in life. Please don't get me wrong, the idea that creating a side hustle, passion project or business on your own is fantastic and should never been discouraged. What I'm referring to is this attitude that any time not spent furthering your goals is a complete waste. Reading a book? Better make sure it's about an applicable skill for the future. Got 2 hours to spare? By the stars, you better make sure to use them learning coding or a new language. It makes me cross because it's a fundamentally dangerous attitude that is advertised to younger folk, especially to those just entering their first jobs out of school or university. Burnout is a real issue that can cause exhaustion and isn't healthy. What really gets my goat is how it's an attitude permeated by companies. It's the whole "there's always someone hungrier than you, better do more to prove yourself." To quote Bill Watterson, as if a job title and salary are the sole measure of someone's worth. It's an easy attitude to push. You keep the new workforce with a mind to work harder than each other to get more, which only discourages them from banding together for fundamental rights like healthcare or PTO. So if you took the time to read this, read a book you want, play a game or watch a series that you fancy. Not every moment has to be preparing for a never-ending future. Hating your partner/spouse. It's the dynamic of like 90% of on-screen relationships, that the couple have nothing in common and don't share interests and never do anything together without fighting constantly, but they love each other, so all the toxic, manipulative behavior gets played off for laughs or proof of how strong they are. Your partner should be your best friend. You should want to spend time with them. You should enjoy being around them. You should look forward to seeing them when you're apart. The inherent pressure to make your job into your life. I come from a Southeast Asian country where this is extremely normal, especially in the more traditional toxic workplaces. Had a manager go on a rant about how us juniors were young and could afford to work hard. He then proceeded to compare us to other seniors who used to work until 12 a.m. every day to learn the ins and outs of the business, saying that we should be like them, and bragged about how he only used to sleep 4 hours a day back when he was starting out. My direct manager herself made me work at home despite being on sick leave and recovering from a nasty bout of fever. Just asked how I was feeling before diving straight into, can you work from home now since you're not feeling too bad? Don't speak ill of the dead. Literally, why? If someone was a bad person, then dying doesn't wipe off their sins. Not sure if someone's already said this, but pressuring kids to hug/kiss adults, e.g. family friends. Just because you, the parent, trust this person doesn't mean the child automatically has to. Let the child find their own boundaries and don't teach them that they have to compromise their consent for the sake of politeness. Making fathers seem as though they're somehow lesser parents than mothers. Prioritizing punishment over rehabilitation or reconciliation. And I know everyone's first thought when reading that is about prison systems, where obviously it is valid, but this is seen in every aspect of life: the way parents treat misbehaving children, the way poor performing students are treated in school, the way bad employees are treated in workplaces, the fact that the default response to relationship posts on Reddit with any hint of conflict is dump his/her ass. This mindset is pervasive despite the fact that punishment is shown over and over again to be extraordinarily ineffective compared to alternatives. The expectations women set for their weddings. So many women need to have a better wedding than the next bride. The bachelorette parties last 3 days and you have to fly across the country half the time. Just to marry the love of your life? So toxic. High conflict divorce. When some people find out I'm divorced and do 50-50 custody with my ex for our son, I get a lot of, "Oh, that sucks. I couldn't do that. How could you allow that to happen?" Or my personal favorite, "Don't you feel like less of a mother because you don't have your kid all the time?" First of all, F you. Second of all, why is it weird that my ex-husband and I put our child's mental well-being over our feelings? Lastly, and most importantly, my ex is an awesome father and we get along great despite not working out as a couple. Why would I feel like less of a mother because I recognize that he and I are equal parents to our son? Just because we got divorced doesn't mean our son loves either of us less. I understand that in some cases a messy custody battle is unavoidable, but that should be the exception, not the rule. Toxic forgiveness. I get forgiving is for the person wronged, it's bad to hold on to hate, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people don't seem to understand that pain/hatred needs to be processed before forgiveness is possible, and that shit takes time. And people who try to pressure others into forgiveness look as stupid as someone yelling at a stabbed person to hurry up and stop bleeding, like they have so much control over the blood leaving the gaping hole in their body. Posting absolutely every moment on social media. Just bought a couch posted, ate sushi posted. Just filmed a homeless man posted. Who the F cares? And writing some huge paragraph on social media for Mother's/Father's Day, which they probably don't even use, but QA's that day is about you and your likes and comments. Here's a tip: don't be selfish and self-centered and maybe call them party politics, especially two-party systems. Systemic tribalization and polarization of the population. Give people a team to root for, and you're also giving them a team to root against, which, as we see every day, easily leads to distrust and hatred. Money. The devaluing and gatekeeping of education, often based on money. The "we suffered, so you have to suffer too" mentality that previous generations often espouse, like it's a badge of honor to have faced problems but done absolutely nothing to make the situation better for the future, and the tendency to call younger people entitled when they say they want to try and solve/prevent/avoid the suffering or problems through action because it costs, you guessed it, money. That is it for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.